first activity on our path to commanding demand and maybe to billions of dollars in goodwill and revenue is to clarify what literally on earth we are standing for in a common startup business proposal. It's about composing a comprehensive statement of our business idea. You may have dealt with this sort of thing before writing a business plan, but the following instructions assume that you are trying it for the first time. I expect you have in mind to bring a change to the world. The point of this exercise is to pin down your idea into objectives. Try and understand the extensibility of terms like market, business, and target audience beyond the limits of mercantilism. All social activity can be thought of as business. Think of your enterprise as a service to the world and of your audience as investors in your dream. The big question is, what tangible transformation are you dreaming of? Television fans may be heavily influenced by programs like the BBC's Dragon's Den, where attempting to define a brand that is not already defined is just hopeless. Commanding demand, it must be noted, is not here to prepare you for mass entertainment shows of socio-political agendas of their own. But if you want to create a show of your own instead, then here you are. In this and all the activities down this workshop, I'll be asking some questions to focus your thinking, and I'll be giving you an example of a suitable kind of answer. The example I'll be giving is a fictional monolithic business in the public transport domain, pioneering and marketing the Star Trek technology inspired by the Einstein-Rosen bridge theorem and Stephen Hawking's science, combined with internet infrastructure and 3D printing advances. I mean to challenge you to be outrageously inventive, and science fiction plays a pivotal role in today's outrageous advances. This particular activity, your first one, also requires that you let go of the present's limitations and dream of your future, composing a science fiction of your own. Relax, it's very easy. 1. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, picture your business in 100 years' time. Imagine that it has been extraordinarily successful and you're still at it, sustained by anti-aging drugs, and recounting your success. What trade have you been profiting from then for the first couple of years? What was your key business activity during that time? For example, making, selling, and coordinating teleportation technology. 2. What is the title with a descriptive subtitle for clarification, perhaps, heading the story of your business activity's contribution to the world? This would be your venture definition. For example, the conquest of the transportations market. Let me add some clarification in regard to venture definition here to help you position yourself in the world in general. Branding as the study of developing an identity relies heavily on the theory of logical classes, by which everything goes into boxes which go into larger boxes and these into even larger boxes, and we touch upon this later on in the full version of Commanding Demand. The business venture is the larger class to which the key business activity belongs. If your answer to the first question was, for example, teaching grammar to children, the larger venture would be education, and if again your role were to play the drums in a rock band, the venture would be music entertainment. As long as your business is at the stadial level of startup enterprise, your venture needs to be about the conquest of a share in a larger market. If you weren't an entrepreneur at all, you would similarly need to define what industry you would apply for a job in. The more people sharing it, the more general the role. For example, an illustrator might be designing characters for a video games venture to conquer the home entertainment world, alongside a mathematician with a knack for game theory and object-oriented programming who might be scripting the software, while the owner of the venturing company, if indeed an entrepreneur and not simply an investor, might be a philosopher writing fictional narratives for video games and making business affiliates in the home entertainment world. The tricky thing in the box-making process is culture. Different cultures have different ontologies, as the largest of the logical boxes are called by the scientific world. But don't worry, just bear in mind that the more specific terms describe your key business activity and your own professional identity, while the more general ones describe the territory of your venture, and you'll be all right. 3. Visualize what fortresses your business has had to build to rule effectively for 100 years in the market. What architectural landmarks has it imposed on the environment? This would be your business vision. For example, a factory capable of producing and shipping 50,000 teleportation chambers per annum, a traffic control center orchestrating the teleportation network, and an outlet in every city in the world. The part where you state the pros and cons of this vision and the plans for its incarnation comes separately. For this question, I need you to concentrate on material assets and things that are located in physical space only. 4. Now remember what has been the business's first calling. What was your initial promise to yourself and to your investors? What determination drove your dedication to this business? This would be your business mission then. For example, to build a global enterprise that would cost £120 million to set up and £100 million a year to operate and advertise, employing 1,000 heads at start and expanding every hour, making about £500 million revenue per annum. A common issue regarding this question is that business mission and brand mission abide to different economics. The business idea must only set forth a rough quantitative sketch, i.e. the numbers in which your enterprise has grown as you imagine it remembered in the distant future. For purposes other than a detailed business plan like in this context here, keep to the highlights only. Cash flow forecasts and financial analysis, useful though they are, lie beyond our present intent. Nevertheless, we will be concerned with better accounting accuracy in later activities, as of course we will be with moral qualities too. The business idea isn't concerned with any higher morality and qualitative definitions like the brand manifesto is later on. 5. Now, what exactly have your customers been buying from you? What actual product have they been taking home from trading with your business? What have you been selling to them for the first 10 years? This is the specific product or service unit resulting from your activity. For example, teleportation terminals and traffic control service. To many of you, this question may not apply in terms of product at all, but only in terms of service. In most service-defined enterprises, the product is the same as the key business activity from question 1. But if you want to be clear and honest with yourself, you may need to consider precisely what it is that you are handing over in return for money. When you have paid the full version of Commanding Demand, for example, you have purchased the access rights to a set of files by means of an account with Delta Salience Ltd. The product exchanged was a key code to a virtual data space delineated by the trademark Commanding Demand, which is, in terms of product, a computer program. 6a. Who was your business mainly selling to? Who were your major customers? Try to define them as a distinct group in a wider society. Who has been buying your service or product? How were they identified as a customer group, your product aside? For example, fed-up car users, from governments, businesses and emergency services to plain holiday makers and tourists. Also a lot of Star Trek fans of all ages spending time away from home. 6b. Who were your main competitors? Who did you push aside to gain a foothold in the market? For example, car and fuel manufacturers and traditional transport companies like airlines and railways. 6c. Who were your complementors? Who were you getting your supplies from and who used your product or service to furnish their own businesses? For example, of the former, telecommunication networks, microprocessor and computer auxiliaries manufacturers, and of the latter, space and remote location researchers, national and international defense corps. 7. What strengths did you and your company have readily available to utilize in your mission from the start? What weaknesses were slowing you down? What opportunities did your enterprise benefit from? And finally, what threats were you facing in the beginning and maybe later on too? For example, technological innovation and a registered patent are strengths. Insufficient funding and reputation are weaknesses. New energy regulations and infrastructure advancements may be opportunities, and government intervention, critical press, and black market copycats could be threats. Okay, you've done it. If your answers still make sense to you tomorrow, your brand has been sown and the happy business is underway. If not, think it over until it does. Your wording is likely to be revised as your business idea grows into a brand in the subsequent activities. You may want to rectify the idea itself after completing the rest of this workshop. I suggest that you keep a snapshot of your original for reference of your progress.